Hello everyone, it's, what is it, Thursday, and it's pouring down, or it has been. I think um, autumn might be here early. Last night it kind of blew like crazy, and I was worried about the little library out the front. Jeremy's just put some boxes of DVDs out there, and I'm scared of them blowing open, all the boxes, and everything getting wet. I haven't checked them yet. But it really felt like being at sea with all the trees out back lashing around. And Socks is in a funny mood because he got into a terrible fight last night with, I don't know how many cats outside, but there was a lot of scrapping noises and screaming. And I had to dab his ears with feline antiseptic when he came in, just in case he had any scratches, because he responds badly to having scratches. He gets little blisters and things. He had to have surgery when he was quite young on his chest because of bites, didn't you? We don't talk about that. Anyway, if it is autumn, that's okay. We like autumn, it's our favourite. And it will be time to be making up piles of autumn reading and thinking about Halloween. I've made multiple piles of spooky books already in August, ready for Halloween, and revised them and changed them. So we'll see what we get to when it comes to Halloween. I've got so much writing work to do in the autumn. I'm going to have to. You have got a little scab there. I'm going to. Good that we put antiseptic on it, isn't it? Parcel out my time very carefully to make sure I'd still get to read. And as I always say, the reading is what fuels the writing. It's like a big rocket made out of paper, and you've got to shovel in all of these books. This is what I want to get to. I've got a heap of fairy tale things. This is a was it Barnes and Noble or somebody else? I bought this as a gift to myself. Yeah, it's one of their leather-bound Barnes and Noble books, which I got on import because we haven't got Barnes and Noble here. I bought it as a gift for myself 5 years ago, just before Levy Pride in 2019. When I'd been working really hard, I wiped out my summer with work because we got commissions, it was with Bafflegab, to write audio dramas based on Peter Pan and The Wizard of Oz. 4 hours long each. That was 8 hours of drama I had to write through that summer, adapting both books fully, every scene from those books, which never usually gets done. And we had a great time. And, we got a cast that was stellar, really, looking back. Anyway, so by the end of it, I bought myself that as a present. So I'm thinking about reading fairy tales. That's the stage of late summer I'm at. It's for something, I can't really say what, but I am going back to traditional fairy tales from all over the world and thinking about them and thinking how they link together in suites of stories or arabesques of stories. Arabesque, in that sense, is to do with the figures and shapes on carpets. But it also describes how the stories fit together in sequences of stories like the Arabian Nights. And one of the books I've dug out, sorry Socky, I've got to reach for books as usual, is this Robert Irwin's The Arabian Nights Companion. Robert Irwin died recently. I was sad to see. He came to talk to us once at UEA at a conference that we organised. I read this in 1997 when I was about to write, or while I was writing, my first Doctor Who novel, The Scarlet Empress, which was filled with ideas from all kinds of fairy tales. Anyway, this is something I want to go back to and dig into. So that's the reading I'm doing this week, as well as everything else I've talked about. Finishing my Bernie Taupin book and reading Natalie Goldberg's new book, Writing on Empty. This is better than editing things, and I can just pull the books down literally. It's a very analog kind of video. Yeah, because I need to not be writing on empty. I need to restore my tanks, and she's good for that. She's good for the writing boost that you need to remind yourself, as I said before, of why you're doing this and why you actually enjoy it. Because there are lots of obstacles to negotiate, put it that way. Thank you for all your amazing responses to my video from a couple of days ago. The one about my Elsie Mason series and the bad news there from the publisher, Orion, which, yeah, it is bad news, but it's still a series of 6 books. 6 novels in a row is a big accomplishment, and I'm really happy with them. There are still 2 of those to be published. So we're still only 2/3 of the way through these things coming out. I just thought it would be an ongoing series with them. And they seemed so proud and so pleased with them that you thought they would continue. But that's how these things go. And it gives me room and space and time to do other things in other places. It's never an ending, which is the story of, I guess, the way that these work, that every story begats, to use a very old word, another story. They branch off into new adventures of some kind. So we have to see what comes next and what takes off and where my various interests lead me, but and opportunities lead as well, because it's one thing to be writing these things, but you have to have the means of getting them out into the world to the readers. And that involves all sorts of business work. But I was really pleased with everybody's comments and how many people watched that video. I think people like it when I talk quite candidly, straight to camera, about the business of being a writer and the old slings and arrows and the business of having fortitude. Maybe I should do some more talks about the nuts and bolts of the writing business and negotiating it, and talking about my experiences, good and bad, in this world, because I've had both over 30 years doing this. It's more than 30 years, because of course there were the years of trying to make anybody notice, the toughest years that you think will never end. You'll never actually sell anything or be noticed. And really I started in earnest when I was about 20, and it took about 4 or 5 years to get anything coming back at all. I had started as a kid. I used to write letters to Puffin Books and the people who published the Mr. Men books with pictures and stories when I was 9 years old. And when I look at my diaries, it does say things back then about me sending stamped addressed envelopes to these publishers, which is amazing, really. Good on me. I do look back at that kid, growing up on a council estate in the northeast, reading books out of the library and reading books he'd been bought and books he got with his pocket money. And I do wonder at his unerring belief that I can write I can do this. I don't know who told me. Well, I do know. My mum told me that I can do this. This is allowed. Because not everybody at school did tell me that. Some did, in terms of teachers. The rest were saying especially in secondary school, you'll be lucky to work in a factory. That's what they told us. So when I negotiate my way through this world of publishing and writing and writers, I do have that behind me. And that's why I feel full of gumption and righteous ire at times, because I'm not the kind of person from the kind of background who gets on in those worlds. Academia as well. They're usually, if not outright poshos, they're people from comfortable middle class backgrounds who could be supported or be brought up with that sense that they are allowed to do anything, that they can take their place in the world doing what they choose, and are entitled to that. When you come from a working class background, that's not how you're brought up, and it's not how you're treated. You really are treated like, the first day of school, you'll be lucky if you get to work in a factory. You do get told that. So I do feel proud of the fact that I've not been bowed down by being in this world of writing. Even when, once within it, you still get treated sometimes pretty poorly. Anyway, I'm looking on the positive and the bright sides, and I do feel better for having the support of the people here on this channel. I know it's not just people blowing smoke up my arse. I love that phrase. It really makes me laugh. I know that the comments I've had and the messages I've had privately and publicly are really meant, and the people who've sent them are people who've watched a lot of these videos and know exactly what I'm talking about. And we're in a kind of dialogue. I love people telling me what they're reading and what I've made them read, what I've made them go and look for. And I especially love those ones who go and buy my books and read them. So I'm very grateful to all of those messages from you lot. I do feel like I've got this community here that I didn't have before. You aren't people generally that have come from Facebook or other bits of social media, or even people who've read me. Some of you are. But mostly people on here commenting are people I've met through doing this, through talking into this screen, which is really gratifying. It's like inventing something from nothing, which is the essence of writing and drawing and storytelling for me. Creating something out of nothing. Of course, it's never nothing. It is that rocket fuel of everything you've ever read and experienced, but that's all intangible and it all goes on inside here. But it is creating something, and I do like that. And I like the fact that you're all here still listening to me rambling on. So, thank you. And I hope I can carry on rambling on and feeling confident. I'm still waiting for news back from some projects, and I'm prepared for the worst now. So you might get some miserable videos coming up of me bemoaning the reception of this or that book or proposal or whatever. I hope not. I hope there's good news to come. Anyway, I'm going to go so I can read. Socks says goodbye as well. He's gone to sleep now. I'm going to take a look at that slight scratching on his ear again. Okay, goodbye everyone, and I'll see you again quite soon. Bye-bye.